Donald Trump's most recent campaign rally was so disastrous that even Fox News was intermittently cutting away from the embarrassing spectacle, and Trump's staggering cognitive decline was so pronounced that even a Fox News host was left stammering for words to try to cover for him. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, I want to play you a couple of clips to show you just how bad Trump's campaign rally in Latrobe, Pennsylvania was as he, rambled for minutes and minutes and minutes on end about legendary golfer Arnold Palmer. Watch what Trump does to this Fox News host who's trying to decipher some sort of coherent message from Trump's words. Listen to how much he stammers.
What a great man. I said, Arnold.
Latrobe, Pennsylvania is an area that Donald Trump won in 2016. He is there holding one of his signature rallies. There, a story about the local favorite son, the late golf superstar, really, Arnold Palmer, who, of course, hailed from Latrobe.
He said, "That's what a great man."
So you can see, signature rally. He's talking about Arnold Palmer. You can just feel the awkwardness of this Fox News host as he's desperately trying to sane wash Donald Trump's wild incoherence, his increasing incoherence. Donald Trump just standing in front of a microphone and riffing incoherently with non sequiturs and tangents one after the other. And it's Fox's job, given that they're the effective propaganda arm of the Republican Party, to try to make that palatable. But they would intermittently cut away and then finally cut away to show the much more well-rehearsed, the much smoother rally of Vice President Kamala Harris, which I'm sure will piss Donald Trump off.
But you're talking about a great man. I said, Arnold.
Latrobe, Pennsylvania is an area that Donald Trump won in 2016. He is there holding one of his signature rallies. Kamala Harris, the vice president, has to say.
Yeah, that seems like a night and day comparison, to be sure. Pretty bad when Fox, again, is like, please, for the love of God, get this off screen. Speaking of one thing I'm sure they wish they would get off screen, but Newsmax apparently was committed to it. Donald Trump, during his, what I imagine felt like a 3-hour soliloquy about Arnold Palmer, got into some spicy territory, some unexpected territory. Here's Donald Trump talking about Arnold Palmer's penis.
Oh, man. This man was strong and tough. And I refuse to say it, but when he took showers with the other pros, they came out of there, they said, oh, my God. That's unbelievable. I had to say it. We have women that are highly sophisticated here. But they used to look at Arnold as a bad, but he was really, oh, man.
Why? I don't. That's a new one on the bingo card. I've not heard that one. I've watched many Trump rallies, unfortunately. That's why I smile a lot less than I used to. It's why there are bags under my eyes. The spiritual toll it's taken on me. I don't recall Donald Trump waxing poetic about anyone's genitals. Certainly not all Arnold Palmer's. It's a bold campaign strategy. I'm stunned, but that's how just wildly off script this man is. We'll actually probably do a video later on today about Republican speaker and super uptight, buttoned up Christian Mike Johnson was put in the hot seat by Jake Tapper to defend Donald Trump's tangent there about Arnold Palmer's putter or his 9-iron. I suppose. I'm stunned. I really am. Just when you think Donald Trump could not surprise you anymore, like, man, you have said some really unhinged stuff. Surely you're done with it now. No, he manages to find just more in the reserve. He's like, you know what? I think we can talk about. I haven't talked about any golfers' penises lately. Let's talk about that. On the more serious stuff, Donald Trump, as we've said before, seems to suggest that he's violated the Logan Act, which is a law that prevents private citizens from conducting or interfering with foreign policy conducted by the federal government. It's important to remember that even though Donald Trump was president, he is not president. He is effectively a private citizen, and he has no more authority to conduct foreign policy than I do, than you do. And yet, as we've talked about over the past several years, his continuous phone calls and communications with foreign dignitaries and leaders suggest that he may be violating the Logan Act. Well, he took another step in that direction by saying that he has been in contact with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and again, just kind of gesturing towards a violation of the Logan Act.
Like has happened. And Bibi called me today, and he said, it's incredible what's happened. They said, it's pretty incredible. But he wouldn't listen to Biden, because if he did, they wouldn't be in this position. And she's worse than him. She's not as smart as him. And I'm not saying he's the smartest. I'm not saying he's the smartest. But she's not as smart as him. And I like her.
So again, that's if Trump is to be taken as word, which is always a dubious prospect, he's saying that the prime minister of an allied nation currently at war was on the phone with him, and they were discussing their disregard of the current president of the United States, Joseph Biden. That is potentially, again, a violation of the Logan Act. We don't know, but maybe the FBI should be investigating that sort of thing. Perhaps Attorney General Merrick Garland should be like, yo, don't do that. Don't you do that. Don't be undermining the federal government as a private citizen as they're conducting foreign policy. And don't be encouraging the Israeli prime minister to disregard the diplomatic advice and instructions of the president of the United States. But again, am I totally surprised? No, Donald Trump has signaled that he's done that before. He's reportedly had at least 7 phone calls with Russian dictator Vladimir Putin. I mean, we've heard about the conversations and the ties that he has with Viktor Orban and people like, it's just, but it gives the sense to people, like if you go on social media and you talk, like you look at the comments under this particular clip, people are upset. They're like, what? Is he just like flagrantly violating federal law? I mean, it's Donald Trump, so it wouldn't be the first time, right? But at these hypersensitive times where tens of thousands of lives are at stake, Donald Trump seems to be signaling to the world that Benjamin Netanyahu should disregard what President Biden and the Biden-Harris administration are saying, and he seems to be an active participant in it. Again, potential violation of the Logan Act. One other clip I want to play for fun, just Donald Trump struggling with a basic word.
In a Connecticut hotel, one of these illegal alien monsters was a getaway.
Sounds like he was gargling Listerine or something. But here's where we are. The election is just a few weeks away. This election is a coin flip. And this man has basically a 50-50 chance of becoming president again. It's where we are as a nation. I'm not running for office, so I can keep it real, right? I don't have to be as kind as Vice President Harris is. This is an indictment of us. It really is. It goes to show how irrational we are as an electorate. You know, many of us have watched movies. We love our movies. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I keep going back to this. I love a good movie villain, right? Movie villains tend to set the stage for a great... That Bruce Willis famously said, you judge the quality of a movie based on the villain. And he would know, as you know, part of the Die Hard franchise, some of the most memorable movie villains in cinema history. And I always think of some of the best movie villains, all the Machiavellian scheming and the patience and the plotting. Donald Trump is the closest thing that we have to a real-life supervillain here in the United States. And there's no scheming. He's just a doofus. He's just a really bad person who doesn't take any effort to conceal who he is, to hide his ambitions. This guy is not Littlefinger from Game of Thrones. He's not Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars. He's just like this moron who's also just a really bad person and really selfish. And through the irrationality of tens of millions of Americans, he may be returned to power. Number one, after a disastrous first term, which ended in a constitutional disaster because he became the first sitting president to resist the peaceful transfer of power and to sicken insurrection on the United States Capitol. Then all the unhinged things he's said and done and been credibly accused of doing and been found guilty of in the interim. Then all the unhinged things he's threatened to do. And he is a coin flip away from becoming president again. I want you to think about it. Every movie you've ever watched was even more unrealistic than you realize, because what the bad guy should have done is just say, hey, I'm a bad guy. Here are my terrible ideas. Make me president. And that actually would have been a tense movie, because then half of the people would have been like, it's not a bad idea. It's so sad that that's where we are, but we have time to change it. Again, Vice President Harris has a slight edge over Trump overall. And if we turn out and vote, if the anti-Trump coalition gets out and votes, we win. So if the choice is between Trump and Kamala, vote for Vice President Harris. Those of you who are debating between the couch and Kamala, Vice President Harris is still the better option. Take the time, make a plan. Early voting, absentee voting, mail-in voting. You have so many options out there. Make a plan, make it happen. A lot of people depend on it. Otherwise, this is what we're going to get for the next 4 years at best. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.